Welcome, Moaa family, to another episode of the Moaa Member Chat. Today's episode, we have Sahar Abdur-Rashid from the NCAA. She is the Assistant Director of Media Coordination and Statistics. How are we doing, Sahar?
Hello, I'm doing well today.
Thanks for joining us. I am doing great. I've been doing great. The sun is shining. It's kind of cold outside, but we are battling through as the winter months are definitely upon us. So, as we start all of our episodes, a chance for you to tell all of the Moaa family just your journey and how you have come to attain your current position.
I think my journey is pretty much similar to other people, I assume. I have an undergraduate degree in sports and recreation management from Temple University in Pennsylvania. I minored in journalism, public relations, and advertising. So when I was in school, I thought I had made up this world of sports communications, not knowing that the field had been around long before my existence. And my goal initially was to be a lawyer, and I transcended into sports, and then that goal became to do communications in the world of sports. After I graduated, took some time off, wanted to get back into the field, and decided that the best way to do that was through internships. Was blessed to do an internship with the Women's Basketball Coaches Association, and then one with the MEAC that turned into a full-time position. Worked at the MEAC for, including the internship, about nearly 8 years. After being there for that time frame, transitioned to the national office, and now I'm at the national office, and I get to manage media operations at our championships, as well as work with, be a liaison to the SIDs with their statistical responsibilities, and then I get to also work in volunteer in the DEI space and as a liaison to several committees, both at the national office and in the membership.
Thank you. Now, along your journey, did you find anything unique, or can you speak to anything that may be unique about you being in this position?
Being a minority in this position makes me unique. People often want to know how I got to where I currently am. And while I'm able to share my story in even greater detail than I just shared with you, more importantly, I always try to challenge them back and say, while I'm here, I don't want to be the only. So that's something that I'm still working towards, trying to figure out how we can enhance, specifically in my area, which is athletic communications, how we can enhance that part of the industry and make it something that minorities want to be a part of, and not only want to be a part of it in the initial journey, but in senior leadership positions.
Nice. So speaking of your membership with Moaa, can you enlighten us on how you heard about the organization, what you like about being a part of the organization, and what do you foresee, or what would you like for us to continue to do?
Oh, that's a loaded question. So I've been a member of Moaa on and off since I started at the MEAC. Our commissioner actually purchased memberships for us while we were all employees. So that was my actual introduction to Moaa. I think Moaa is the place to go if you want to network, you want to learn, you want to work with other minorities in our profession. It's the place to be. So that's why I've continued the membership. The last part, I believe, was where I want to see it go next.
Yes.
Okay. So with that, I think it's just a continuation of that. It's making sure that we are the place to go if you are a minority, if you're looking to advance your career, if you are a non-minority, you're an ally, or you want to be an ally and you want to learn about diversity, inclusion, equity to make these departments within collegiate athletics or athletics as a whole better, then, this is the go-to place to do that.
Absolutely. Now, being in your position, you've covered a lot of events. I'm curious to know, what was your favorite event that you have covered? And on your bucket list, what event would you like to cover?
So this is a challenge because I actually, when I'm in season with whatever sport I'm working on, it is my favorite at that time. I've had the great privilege to, when I was at the conference office, I covered a lot of our sports. So everything from cross country to bowling to, baseball, softball, the gamut. Now at the national office, the same. I've gotten the chance to work with soccer and women's basketball and women's volleyball. I work with FCS football. But in person, I would say most recently, my favorite championship is the Women's College World Series. And the reason for that is because that is a championship that is late in the season. So it's towards the end. It's actually one of our last championships of the year. And with it, it has been the parity in the sport and the eyes on the sport these past few years. I've had that championship for over 8 years now. It's grown every single year. It's a championship that literally you can be 8 to 80 and you see them at the championship. And to know that this is changing a little bit, at least for this year, because hopefully we'll have the Olympics. But for many of these student athletes, this is the culmination of their careers. They've been playing, little league since they were very small, and now they're at the, College World Series, which is known as the Mecca of softball, and they're getting a chance to, play out their childhood dreams. So confetti never gets old. It falling, out of the sky for whatever championship it is. But that's probably become one of my favorites because I am most connected to it, and I lead the media operations for that championship. And then from a standpoint of bucket list, it would have to be the Olympics.
Yes, I definitely can speak to the atmosphere of the College World Series. The softball World Series. It's electric. And when I was there, I had a chance. We had a regional compliance seminar in Oklahoma City. So I had a chance to check out some games. And I was just like a kid in a candy store, just smiling, looking at all the athletes competing, their families, fellow fans. It just was a great atmosphere. The event was run very precise, from going to the parking lot to the event. Everything just was done top notch. I can't wait to get back once we are able to get back together in that kind of atmosphere with the amount of people. So I can speak to that. And yes, the Olympics is one where everyone wants to go to, and I think that's on my bucket list to actually go to that event one of these days. Summer Olympics, not the winter. I don't know if I can do the winter.
Oh my goodness. I see. And I think the Olympics is probably the only, especially if you work in sports, where we sometimes get a little jaded with watching sports because we work in sports. We, sometimes we're like, I get too much sports. You can get that. I think the Olympics is the one time where I'm literally watching like bobsledding and stuff that I would normally never, watch. You're tuning in because it's only every 2 years. And then of course the Summer Olympics is fun. I mean, track and field at the Olympics. I mean, I know what track and field is like at the collegiate level. I can't imagine what it is hearing, them cheering on, those athletes in an arena for, Is there anything better?
No, there's not.
No.
And I can speak to, I don't know what's going on in handball, but when it's on, I am tuned in, rooting for USA. Let's go. Let's win.
Absolutely.
So sticking with that, you've had a chance to be around and cover some great athletes. Is there one particular athlete that you haven't had a chance to cover? It can either be someone that's currently with us or someone that has transitioned that you would, like to spend some time with, pick their brain to kind of dig into how they become so great.
Muhammad Ali. He, first of all, may God have mercy on his soul. It's the humanitarian that he was. It's the athlete that he was. It is the during the time frame that he was alive and the things that he had to go through, his convictions, his ability to still maintain his faith and spirituality, and then also be, the athlete that he was and walk the walk that he walked. It's evident by his funeral. I'm not sure if you were able to, watch any of it. I was glued to the TV. He was able to bring together people who may not have had some of the same beliefs as him, and still in a way that it was still a teachable moment. And so if you can do that on your way while you're in the world, and then on your way out, like I have a ton of questions. Yeah, absolutely.
That's a great choice. I had a chance to actually visit the Muhammad Ali, I think, Institute or museum in Louisville when I was on campus at Truman State. And that was a great experience itself. Like, that exhibit is top notch. they do a great job of going through his history, the things that he's accomplished, and just really highlighting how special of a person and athlete that he was.
Yeah.
So segueing off of athletics and our professional lives, us being fellow Philadelphians, I'm curious, what's your favorite cheesesteak spot?
Okay, so I grew up uptown. And so and I don't eat meat anymore. I should also say this. But if I did still eat a cheesesteak, it would be from a couple of places. Uptown, it would be West Oak Lane, Pagano's. Hands down, Pagano's you eat one of Pagano's cheesesteaks and it's really two. So that would be the go-to spot if I was like at home, at my parents' house, or, if I was there. If I'm not uptown, then it's a couple of places I would go to. You can't leave out Max's. If I'm down South Street, don't do Geno's or Pat's. We know that. So if it's South Street or that area, then it's Ishkabibble's, or Jim's is like the last resort. But so that's kind of my range. And D'Alessandro's, but that's new. That's like within the past couple of years, people have let me know about that place, and then I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, their cheesesteak's okay. But yeah, I mean, Pagano's, you can barely walk in there. I don't even think you can sit in there. I think you literally just walk in to get your cheesesteak as you're walking out. And let me ask you can I ask you a question?
Absolutely, yes.
How do you order your cheesesteak?
Mine, I get fried onions, mayonnaise, and and mushrooms sometimes, but definitely got to get fried onions and mayonnaise.
See, I think it's automatic. Those pieces are automatic. I'm not a fan of mushrooms, but I can understand. But I think you have to order it in the order of saying like salt, pepper, ketchup, fried onions. Like you have to let them know.
Yeah, and the funny thing is I'm not that big of a ketchup person. I like to kind of just dip whatever I'm eating into ketchup, and sometimes they can overdose on the ketchup. So I'd rather just put the ketchup on myself when I get back home.
All right. Well, I can take that. If you can take I don't like mushrooms, then I can take you not liking the ketchup. Yeah,
no, absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, Ishkabibble's is definitely on my top list. I like Larry since my parents, their house is located right off City Line Avenue, so 54th Street is a stone's throw away. So I'm used to Larry's. I like that. But yeah, Max's and Jim's are definitely on the list. I haven't had a chance to have Pagano's, so I heard about it, but just haven't had a chance to eat the cheesesteaks. But yeah, everyone from Philadelphia knows Geno's and Pat's is one of those. They do a great job in marketing, but if you're from Philly, you're like, that's not really. Let me take you to a spot where you're gonna have one of the best cheesesteaks.
I'm sure it's a great experience. I'm not knocking it, but I think there may be some other experiences that may be even a little bit better.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, staying off of athletics.
Okay.
I'm curious, what's your favorite movie?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you that I don't have a favorite movie because I have several. So I'll give you a kind of, if I'm going to watch, or I'll say this: if these movies are on, I'll watch no matter what. Like I'll stop what I'm doing and I'll watch. So that'll maybe help you a little bit better, or I can answer it better. The original Sparkle with Irene Cara. I don't know why. I have no rationale. I just know as a kid it's before me, way before my time. But every time I watch that movie, I want to sing, I want to dance, I wanted to wear all of the dresses that they had in that movie, and I just loved it. Back to the Future, the trilogy, I could watch any of them. The second one is my absolute favorite. I could not wait for it to be 2020 something and see if we had these flying cars that we do not have yet. And then when they microwaved the pizza and the TV had a fax machine, like everything about the future part of that, kid me loved it. And then the fact that they were able to keep the story along, and like Biff, you saw him in every genre of in every decade. I still watch it like I never saw it before. And then I'm not sure why I was allowed to watch this as a kid, but The Godfather, I love the Godfather movies as well. I love gangster movies. I love A Carlito's Way. I love all of those as well, and I'll sit and watch those too. With Godfather 1 and 2, 2 is my favorite as well, but I think it's my favorite because they go back to Italy and you get to learn his journey and his story and how he became who he is and why he has to be who he is. You could leave 3. They could have stopped at 2, in my opinion.
Solid choice. Solid choices. I hate to say this. I have not seen The Godfather yet.
Let me ask. Okay, I'm asking another question. Do you like that genre of type of movies, like gangster type? Okay.
Yes.
So you've seen Scarface, you've seen like A Carlito's Way, you see.
I have, yeah, and I just haven't seen The Godfather yet. It's so interesting. I haven't seen the Sopranos series yet, and that's right up my alley in terms of things that I like to watch, movies and television series, but just haven't. You
were supposed to do that during quarantine. I know we're still technically in some type of quarantine.
Yeah.
There were opportunities. Yeah, The Godfather. I know. It is. I will say this: The Godfather it's long, but it flows. Like you, especially if you like those genres, I think you would enjoy them.
Yeah, crazy. I haven't had a chance to. Well, I've had a chance to watch them. I just haven't brought myself to commit to it. So if you weren't in sports, what do you think, or what would you want your profession to be?
I'd be a lawyer. Young me would have been a criminal lawyer. I love First 48. I love the idea of like solving mysteries and helping other people. Older me, if I was practicing law, would probably want to do like real estate or estate planning and help people manage their finances and make it do that.
Nice. So jumping back on topic, you spoke earlier regarding being a minority within the communications field and administration. Can you speak to your experience being a part of COSIDA?
So COSIDA is an awesome organization. It bridges the gap again with networking. And if you're trying to be in that space of athletic communication, strategic communications, then I think it is one of the places to be, if not the place to be. I've been fortunate enough that I've met people through, not only attending convention, but, engaging, with COSIDA and the programming that they do. I'm currently a member of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee within COSIDA, recognizing that there is a gap in the representation of athletic communicators, especially women, but even more so minorities. So they're efforting to bridge those gaps and find ways that they can, further enhance the career so that people come to it, stay within it, and advance within it. But there are challenges. But overall, I would tell everyone that is, if you're in addition to, the NACDA programming, COSIDA is definitely the way to go if you're within that part of the field.
I could definitely speak to being down or attending the NACDA conventions. COSIDA is one where you can look at the schedule. They have great programming. They do a great job with their membership, keeping you all engaged. And we definitely appreciate you being a trailblazer and speaking to the fact that, yes, we do need more minorities within the field. And so I'm glad to hear that they are actually being mindful of that moving forward.
Yeah, so they had their second African American president, a couple years ago with Rob Knox, who I know is a member of Moaa as well. They'll have a few incoming presidents that are people of color in the next few years. They've made it a priority within their board and with the committees and with the way that you see us. So yeah, I definitely think like I said, they recognize the challenges and are there to try to enhance the industry in a way that is beneficial for all of us.
Great. Now, with it being Black History Month, just wanted to ask you, what does this month mean to you personally?
So I will say this: I live Black history every single day. So while I appreciate the month, and while I think the month allows us to take time to highlight the achievements of African Americans, I think it's more important to live and breathe that every single day. Every day I wake up and go out the door, I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. And I honestly believe that. I'm fortunate enough that I'm college educated, that I am in a position that I'm in, that I represent on some levels, Black women. So while the month means everything and it's a chance to promote, I think it's even more important to do it, a little bit of it every day.
Absolutely. So coming up on our time, just wanted to ask of you, if you were looking back to a younger Sahar, what advice would you give yourself when you were just starting out in this field of athletics administration?
Take the risk. I think I've played it safe at times where I think I've played it safe at times that older me looks back and says you should have, and I don't shoulda, coulda, woulda. I will also say that. So that this is a tough question for that, because I think that the place I'm at right now is exactly where I'm supposed to be. But if I had to, I would say that you take those risks, you remind yourself of who you are, because I think, we have to do that. You can get stuck in a rut, or you can, you might feel away, but knowing that self-worth is just so important. I would tell myself that you're more likely to regret something that you never did versus regretting something that you have done. I think we dwell on like things that we have done, and I could have did this differently. I could have did this differently. Those thoughts, they become things. So if you are able to project yourself and I'm vision boarding, I've been doing that for, probably the last 5 years. Things that have been on my vision board have come to fruition, and it's because I'm speaking that positivity to myself. So those would be things that I would tell my younger self.
Great. So we're at the portion of the show where it's our Moaa Member Minute, chance for you to either give any professional or personal advice or words of encouragement to fellow Moaa members. So without further ado, it's your Moaa Member Minute.
All right, I'm going to give you 2 quotes that I live by. One is a religious quote, and it says, "Verily, with hardship there is ease," and that's in the Quran. It's Surah 94, verses 5 and 6. And I live by that because it reminds me that while you're in the moment of something, especially if it's something that is challenging, you feel like you're never going to get out of it. However, sometimes with that hardship, there's going to, it's eventually going to get easier. So, and nothing lasts forever good, nothing lasts forever bad. So kind of recognizing that, I keep that in mind. And then another one is that no one's you, and that's your superpower. So being your authentic self is so important. Don't hide behind anything. You have everything to give. If there's not a seat in the room, find a way to make one. If you can't make one, you make a connection so that you can get in that room the next time. Those are all things that, I think are truly, truly important. And then do things well and leave things better than when you found them.
That is great. Awesome. Well, we are at the conclusion of today's episode of the Moaa Member Chat. I am your host, Michael Bazemore. And as always, Moaa family, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned.